Hello, my name is Sean Copeland. I'm Chairman and CEO of Regent Bank, and welcome to another edition of Regent Elevate, our weekly video series designed to bring you great information to take you and your business to the next level. We're continuing our discussion about how to be a great leader today, and I just want to again confirm the three things that we believe that we know. One is companies grow or die based upon leadership. Leadership makes a significant difference in the performance of a company, department, or frankly a family. 2, leaders are made and not born. 3, great leaders are never satisfied and they are always growing. What we want to do today is I want to visit about a couple of different topics, and I mentioned to Brandon, this is my favorite video, I think, of all the ones that we've done, because I think it will resonate with you, and it certainly does with me. Today, the two topics that I want to cover on leadership are, number 1, the importance of consistency, and number 2, the importance of setting an example as a leader. So let's begin with consistency. Have you ever worked for a boss or had a friend or perhaps a spouse that you never knew what you were going to get that day? When you came to work, let's focus on the boss because it's a little safer. When you walk in the door at work, you never know whether that person is going to be in a good mood or a bad mood. You never know whether they're going to be gung-ho and ready to move forward or not. You never know whether they're going to be aggressive or they are in a contractionary mood. That is very, very difficult to work in. So as a leader, it is critically important that we are consistent. We are consistent in our mood. We are consistent in the way that we make decisions. It's critical. I want to tell you just a couple of quick stories. I have had a couple of bosses in the past that really struggle with this. One, we would lead a Bible study in the back of our organization, and then we would move up to the front of the organization and move into loan committee. And he would go from being the world's nicest human being to being one of the most challenging human beings in the world, all in the course of about 20 minutes. And you just never knew what you were going to get from day to day. The second one, on Friday, we sat in the conference room and looked at how great the vision for the organization is, and we were all owners and how everything was going to grow. And then on Monday, that very next Monday, had read an article in the Wall Street Journal and was ready to lay off a third of our staff. And so these types of things make it very, very difficult for your employees to function. So what you have to do, back in 2008 and 2009, when we were going through very, very difficult times as an organization, it was hard for me to stay consistent. My moods were up and down. Some days I was doing okay, some days I was scared to death. But it was critical that each and every day I put on my game face, was positive, rallied the troops, and continued to be consistent moving forward. The reason this is so important is because your employees are taking every cue from you, no matter what you do. If you're up, they're up. If you're down, they're down. When you make decisions, they're reading a lot into those decisions. So if you're very sporadic and frankly erratic in how you make decisions, they're not going to know what to do. They're not going to be clear on what you want them to do. So consistency, I think, is just so critically important. The second thing I want to touch on today is the importance of setting an example. When we don't follow the rules, when we are lazy, when we don't provide good customer service, when we are not practicing what we preach, that is demotivating to our staff. There is really nothing worse than having a leader that is telling you one thing and doing another. So as leaders, I believe we have to set the gold standard. We need to work the hardest of anybody in the organization. A lot of people believe, well, now that I've made it, maybe I own the company or I've made it to CEO, I'm now on easy street. That's not the way that it works, in my opinion. I think the leader always has to set the standard. If the leader asks an employee to do something, they need to be willing to do it themselves. Don't have somebody else doing your dirty work for you, making the tough phone calls, making the sales call because you're too scared to make it. You have to be willing to do whatever it is that you ask those employees to do. And the reason is because it will build tremendous credibility with you and your team. When they see you doing it, there's an old saying that, preach me a sermon and every once in a while use words. That's what we're talking about here. People watch our actions and the way that we function on a day-to-day basis much more than they listen to the words that we say. So as a leader, it's critically important that we are consistent on a day-to-day basis and that we also set the example for our employees and are truly the gold standard in everything that we do. I hope you've enjoyed today's Regent Elevate. Next week, we're going to focus on two additional topics, and that is the importance of being generous as a leader and the importance of leading the way in business development, that it's the role of a leader to truly bring clients in and help to grow the business as well. That will be our last session for leadership, and then we're going to move into time management in a couple of weeks. So thank you so much for being with us. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.